this here. Can y'all see this? There we go. So let's go ahead and talk about what I'm learning here. This is the Cabala. So if you look up here, this is a Cabala. And in this Cabala, you have layers. The layers represent emanations of reality. Let's just call it reality. Now, imagine that this is the shape you take. This is upward moving energy. And this is downward moving energy. So rather than the Star of David, try to recognize this bottom triangle as downward moving energy. This is spirit coming down. This is the lowest point. And then you see this top triangle as you, the very base of your reality, going up. And right at the middle, at the core, is your seat of awareness. So we could think of this as your seat of awareness. Now, from my experience, we are all born onto a map. This is a map of consciousness going up and down. And I'm going to use some other diagrams too, but it's a map going up and down. So if we take, what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw another one. Let me use a pencil here. So here, these are the Sephrio on the Tree of Life. But this is the deal. I'm going to show y'all a little bit different way of looking at it. So down here at the very bottom, emanation, down here is the physical. That's what it is, their physical reality. This physical reality right here is connected to how things happen. There is a how or a cause that causes the physical reality. The reason that the cause happens, this how happens, is because of a why. There's always a motive behind the influences. So there's a why, but this is the feeling why, which is feeling. And over here is connected also to the why of thinking. So your thinking and your feeling determine the how. And how is really your psyche. The reason your life is happening how it happens is because of your psyche. This is the how. So how things are happening in your life is represented by the moon symbol. How is the psyche, but how your psychology is based on the why of your thinking and the why of your feeling. Now, if you are motivated in your thinking, which is a why, and your thinking is, I want to receive for myself alone, that will influence how you think, and that will influence what you get in your physical reality. That'll actually influence the way your physical body, this is your body, that'll influence the way your physical body moves. It'll actually influence your behavior. Okay? So your physical behavior, you don't control directly. I think a lot of people don't understand this as much, but this is one of the keys. Your physical behavior, your physical actions do not happen because you did it. It happens because of how psyche you think and feel. So this is the triad. I want you to think of this like this. This is the triad or the trinity that controls your action. So a lot of people in the Christian world, let's call it the Christian world. A lot of people in the Christian world I came from, what they would call the Trinity is they would call it Jesus. They would call it Jesus, the Father, and the Holy Spirit. But it had no practical application for me. This is why I started to look into this stuff. This is about 10 years ago. Now, since then, I've used this to help people make hundreds of thousands of dollars, actually millions, help people cure the cancer. And it's all based on this shape. Now, I don't always talk about this shape directly, but I do use this in my real life, in other people's real life. So the why of your thinking and the why of your feeling determine how you think. So these are motives. So the why, you could call it a motive. So this is the true motive. Hey, babe. So this is the motive trinity. Can you give an example? Yes. So if you take any example, what happened in your life, right? No matter what happened in your life, take any event. And I'm live. In a different way. Yeah. But yeah, let me give you an example. So the example is, if you want to get some food, okay, there's a motive there. You feel hungry, and you're thinking about food. You feel hungry and you're thinking about food. So the way you feel and the way you think determine the condition of your psyche. So then your psyche, she's going to cry, babe. Don't even worry about it. Okay. She actually let me pet her this morning. She let me pet her yesterday. That's because she in heat. But so you thinking about food, you feeling hungry, and your psyche, the condition of your psyche is filled with the feelings of hunger and the thoughts of hunger. And then your body automatically goes to the kitchen and grabs food. That's what happens. That's the triad of motive. That makes sense? That's the triad. That's the trinity of your motive. So let's say you're driven by a different motive. Let's say you're driven by the why of a feeling of desire and love. You said, what if I don't want to grab food? Well, if you don't want to grab food, then you don't have the feeling of wanting food. And you don't think about food, which means you won't grab food. Your body won't do it. So you will do what you want in the body, what you crave and what you desire in the body. Now, we're going to talk about what's the higher motives in a second, which is, it belongs actually here. That's a small circle. So we're going to talk about the larger motives. Okay, that's even bigger. Whatever. the greater motive in a second. But these are the motives. This is how your body moves. So when you blame yourself for what you're doing, you say, I keep procrastinating. What you're saying is I can't get my physical body to do what I want it to do when I want it to do it. Okay. Hold on. I want to make sure I'm seeing these questions. You said, what if I'm hungry, I'm thinking about it, food, but I don't want to eat? What that would mean is, you have a higher desire than just, there's a stronger desire or a stronger why or a stronger motive that's overriding your body eating. That's what that would mean. Okay? That's what that would mean. So if you don't want to eat, you say, I want food, but I'm not going to eat. Why? Why are you not going to eat? You're not going to eat because there's a stronger why that is stopping you from eating. Maybe it's the desire or the motive to lose weight or to stay under a certain amount of calories because. Okay, many times we want food, but not what we have or what's available. Right. So your reasons and your power of your feeling and your thinking, it's not strong enough to make you eat at that point or what we should eat. Yeah. Once again, you have a motive for appetite. So let's say you eating for appetite. Appetite just means you like the taste of the food. You're eating a donut. Okay. A donut is not food that's going to satiate you. Let's say that. So your physical body reaches for a donut. Or if your physical body reaches for a donut, what that means is your psyche was in a condition that it was in a condition that made the body reach for a donut. Well, what made your psyche, what made your mind like that? Well, you had some drivers, some motives. You felt a certain way. Maybe you felt a certain way and you were thinking a certain way. Now, you felt a certain way, thought a certain way, your psyche was a certain way that made your physical body reach for a donut. Now, what was the feeling? What was the desire? The desire was to taste some food. You wanted the sweet treat. You wanted the sugar rush in your body. You wanted to eat something sweet and and feel good immediately. Your taste buds, that's what you wanted. So you just wanted your taste buds to take, you wanted to taste sweets. You wanted that sugar rush in your body. You wanted that feeling. So the desire for a feeling in your body, which is in your taste buds, influences your thoughts, and those thoughts influence the feelings. That is shown in the psyche. And then you reach for a donut. And that is the chain of events. It's your motive, your why of your feeling, and it's the why of your thinking. So that's how it works. Now, what our goal is, now if you look here again, remember this shape. Think of this shape as who you are right here. This is your highest point. This is your highest point of consciousness. This is what you know to be God. Okay? Lowest point. This is where your feet are set. This is what you know your lowest to be. And this is the control center. This is the control center or your will. Okay? Now, this is interesting. So this is your highest point. This is your lowest. This is where your feet are planted. And this is where the control center. So you can either move your attention upwards or downwards to the lowest. Now let's look at this on top of this picture. Actually, let me draw a whole nother one. And let's draw it the same way. Okay. Okay, so here we go. As it relates to what we just said. So your lowest level, this is where we are. How to explain addiction. Let's try it real quick. Yeah. Let's explain addiction. So here's a physical body. Here's your psyche. Here's your feeling motive. And here's your thought motive. And then this is the highest point, which is your soul or principle of life. This is the highest point. Now, remember how you are shaped. This is what happens with addiction. Okay, I'm going to show you. What we have to do in order to draw a triangle, because here's the triangle, first triangle. You have a triangle that looks like this. This is the downward moving energy. This is the influence starts from the top down. Influence starts from the top down. Remember? So this is the top triangle. This one going up here. Yeah, I will. I can do it. But this one is going up here. All right. This one is going up. So this is the one going down, the triangle going downward. You can think of this as spirit coming down. This is your power, the power of higher powers coming down to influence the physical. Well, the upward facing triangle is your willpower. This is your control to move it upwards. Okay, to move it upwards. So let's look at this. You have these sephri or emanations, these dimensions. Okay, this thought, this feeling, and your physical. This is intact. You know what you're thinking, you know what you're feeling, and your feet are rooted and grounded in the physical. That's that. Now, this is the issue. When it comes to, and this is the spirit coming down, it filters itself through your thoughts and feelings, and your thoughts and feelings determine what can come into your life. If you think and feel negatively on a regular basis, it comes into your life. So talk about addiction. The way you think and feel as far as addiction is concerned, you think in shame and you feel shame. And what that does is influence you to physically reach for immediate gratification. Instant and automatic gratification to relieve the thoughts and feelings of shame. And so you just reach physically for whatever addiction, whatever addictive thing you're reaching for. It is because of the feelings and thoughts of shame that you reach for that thing. That's where it comes from. Now, if this person is to come out of the addiction, here's the issue with this. These are not real emanations. These are not real dimensions of life. These are not real, but they are pseudo. This is a pseudo feeling. Let's look at this. It looks like this. Here it is. So this is the upward triangle. This is your ability to move up and out of your situation. Here's the problem. This is the feeling circle, Sephrio. This is the higher feelings. These are real feelings. Here's the issue. Right below that, you have also feelings. And you also have thoughts. But these thoughts and these feelings are connected directly to the physical, which means they're not real thoughts and feelings. These are impulses. These are impulses. This is a tree of life. I learned that it's not Cabala. You could call it Cabala, yes. But this is the fake feelings that are connected to your physical urges. And this is your thoughts that are connected to your physical urges. So if you have feelings and thoughts connected to your physical urges, the problem is that you will never go towards your soul with these. What's up? How you doing? I don't know. I don't know. But does that make sense? Good to see you. Good to see you. So understand this. What do you have to do? You have to overcome the false feelings that are connected to your physical body, your flesh. And this is what the Christian tradition tries to explain, but they don't understand it all the way. You have to overcome the flesh. What does that mean to overcome the flesh, though? Why would you have to overcome the flesh? Because it produces fake feelings and it produces fake thoughts. Or we can call them not fake, but illusory feelings and illusory thoughts. Okay? You gotta transform. I'll give you my Discord. Just message me and I'll send it to you because we got a new group. So this is what the flesh does. So you have to overcome false feelings and false thoughts. So you literally have to. This is how you do that, by the way. You create a focus in the soul. You want your attention because this is where your control center is. You can move upward or downward. So from the heart of your psyche, because this is all you got at this point. So from the heart of your psyche, you want to be moving your psyche upwards into the soul. You have to make this your goal. It's the only way out of the false feelings and false thoughts. Now, what would that produce? Let's look at this. So the next thing that'll produce is this. I'm going to try to draw them in a little darker, all right? I know y'all can't see them as well, but. So what does this produce? If you move your attention up, why does the flesh make false thoughts? We'll talk about it. Let's talk about it in a second here. All right. But let's do this. I want to show y'all so y'all can see the difference. When you decide to move your psyche up from this physical person or the seat of your psyche, this can be influenced. This is only influenced by your feelings, thoughts, and then flesh feelings and flesh thoughts. These are soul feelings, soul thoughts, flesh feelings, flesh thoughts. So you are in the world of thought. You are swimming in thoughts. But when you move the seat of your control center from here to the soul, what happens? Well, your basement now has risen up. Your basement is now here. This is real feelings, real thoughts. And now this is where a new Sephrio appears. So the Sephrio that appears here is called Deat. And this is direct knowledge. So you now have connection with direct knowledge. And the seat of your awareness, your control center, is now at the level of your soul. So now you are in your soul. See, we are not born with our soul. We have to earn it. We have to earn the light of our soul. We're not born fully immersed in the light of our soul. We're born under the influence of false feelings and false thoughts connected to physical urges, physical desires of destruction. It just takes you downward into your body. Animalistic tendencies. But the second that you move up into your soul, you start making that press upward, then you end up in the soul. Now, Deat is gnosis. This is a direct connected knowledge to the divine. Now, your basement, the lowest place that you work with, you no longer are living in this physical. You no longer believe that this physicality is real. This is not what you live on. What you live on now, the basement of your life is your psyche. You know, the fundamental reality that you live in physically is actually all made of your mind. All is mind. You know, everything is consciousness. This is what you know now. So you no longer believe what you see. You know that what you're seeing is only a reflection of what you're thinking. This is when you move out of insanity into sanity. So you no longer believe that my feelings that I feel and my thoughts are real. You no longer believe that the body's thoughts and the body's feelings are real. You can no longer stop thinking that the body's thoughts and the body's feelings are real. You can no longer believe that because you move your consciousness upward. And now here's what you see. Here's what you see. You see that, okay, my psyche is the foundation. By the way, this is actually called the foundation in Cabala. It's actually called the foundation. This is the foundation of the physical reality. It's my psyche. So now your desire is to bring down these two. So no longer is the higher influences just feelings and thoughts. Here's what it is. It becomes the consciousness of mercy, the mercy of the divine, and supreme judgment. And what are those really? This is the divine desire. So you can call it the divine desire to give. So now the influence is not your feelings. Feelings are still there. Here it is. And here are thoughts. Feelings and thoughts. So that here they are. Communicating with ancestors. You can communicate with ancestors because all of them live here in a state of unity. We are all unified, but it's unnecessary until you just connect with yourself. Okay, so thoughts, feelings. You have thoughts, you have feelings, but now those thoughts and feelings are not connected downward to the body, related to the body. Your thoughts and feelings are now turned upward into illuminated gnosis. You want to know. You want consciousness. You want direct experience with the divine. So this is what you want. You want to move that attention upward. Now, what comes down into your psyche when you move your center of control? Because remember, I'm gonna just draw a bigger one. But the I, your I am, wherever that I am is, the center of control, is really the seat of your own awareness. Okay, it's the seat of your awareness. So think about that. This is your I amness. This is your seat of control. This is who you are. Okay, boom. That's this. But here we go. You are now in the seat of your soul. So your feelings and thoughts are turned upward into higher knowledge. This is what you now desire, is higher knowledge. The total union with the divine. That is what you seek now. A direct experience of what you've been thinking and feeling. Not thoughts. You don't want to think about God no more. You don't want to feel about God and say what you feel. You would like to be unified and know it directly, not from hearsay. So now your thoughts and feelings are turned upward. This is the journey. Now, by the way, your psyche, when your attention is turned upward into desiring total union with the Creator while still on earth, while still in a physical body, understand, this physical body is how you feel. This is where you get to experience all that's going on in consciousness. That's where that happens. So what you're really looking to do is, you are looking to feel. When you feel something in your body, realize it is because of what is going on up here. So people who feel very good are not connected. Their whole beingness, who they know themselves to be, no longer includes the physical body. They do not say, I am my body. They know they are not their body, but they know that the body is their vehicle to express who they are. That's what they know. But let's go back to this person over here. This person over here is stuck and trapped because they don't believe. They believe they are their body. It includes who they are. Remember, let's just consider that this whole picture is who you know yourself to be. This is who you know yourself to be. This is the highest point. This is the highest point of who you know yourself to be. This is the lowest point of who you know yourself to be. And this is the heart or control center of who you know yourself to be, your awareness. Okay, if I think that my lowest is my physical, if I actually think I'm my physical, it's illusory. Yeah, see that illusionary thought and feeling? Yes. This is what I got this in meditation one day. But you see this. You think you are your body. You feel like you are your body. But that's the body telling you that you are the body. And that is the body making you feel like you are the body. When you press upward toward the center or seat of your soul, which is really your true center, remember, when you realize that your heart, who you really are at the core, is your soul, it's not something to strive to at the highest, but it's who you are at the heart, then you move this who you are upward to be with the soul. Is that making sense? So now you are looking to have a direct experience. The only time that your soul, because you never are not your soul. When your soul ascends, when they talk about ascended masters, let's look at an ascended master, a picture of an ascended master here. Okay. An ascended master is who? Simply the soul elevating itself to the seat of the divine. It knows who it is totally, and it is the divine. But let's draw it out and see what it looked like so you can see this. It looks like this. Now, that's a good question, how you move up. That's the point. So this is when people talk about ascended masters like Master Yeshua or Muhammad or Buddha. Here's where Buddha sits in consciousness. So here, this is the infinite. It's actually beyond the infinite. And this is the emanation of the infinite. It's equally infinite. You can't explain it. Okay? It's not able to be understood with our mind. This is not a mental thing. So that's infinite. That infinite emanates a spark of spirit. This is spirit. Over here, you can say it's the great subconscious. The great subconscious. The infinite subconscious. And here we are. The seat of the awareness has moved up from, you are still the soul. Remember, you are still the soul. But now the soul has moved its seat of awareness, its control center up, because it has a direct experience and is the direct experience. Exactly, B9 Hokmah. Hokmah B9. So now the lowest level awareness of this person, the ascended master, the ascended master no longer thinks that it's its psyche. It no longer believes that it has anything to do with thoughts and feelings. It knows feelings and thoughts are fleeting. The ascended master no longer identifies with thoughts and feelings. Those belong to the lower mind. The ascended master is here at the seat of the soul. Okay, and here it is. It is in total gnosis, total and absolute knowledge. The lowest is the soul. It knows at its least it is soul. At the very least, it's soul. At the very highest is all that exists. And here, over here, remember, we have at the top, or right here and here, we have the divine desire. It is the divine desire and the will, which is the judgment Sephrio. The will, the infinite will, and the divine desire together influence this. You use the divine desire and your will to move up here, to move here. Yes, Gevurah and yes, or Gevurah and Hesed. Yes. You are now desiring, not desiring, but moving consciousness up. Remember, at the seat of the soul, you can move up and you can also focus downward. So here you have will, you have divine desire, and it moves, you are moving your attention upward to infinity. You are going beyond even the self. You're going beyond. And we don't even know what's here. Let's not even contemplate that. We don't know. But for sure, your infinite will and the infinite divine desire is what you use to move upward. While your soul, who you are at the lowest level, is spirit. And the infinite subconscious and the infinite spirit together in your soul. And you just know this is who I am. Absolute. These are ascended masters. So the ascended masters have transcended their lower level feelings. Even these become illusory to the ascended master. And the lower level thoughts. Because these feelings and thoughts they know are attached to an ever-changing psyche that can't be trusted. Remember, this is the psyche. So that ever-changing psyche can no longer be trusted. It's fickle. It changes like the moon. The ascended master is now here and pressing upward toward infinity. There we go. Hopefully that makes sense. So this is an ascended master here. This is what an ascended master's consciousness is essentially made of. And this is what you're looking to do. But where are you right now? Let's talk about where you are right now, how to get out of it. Where you are right now, you too. Oh, absolutely. Here's where you are right now. You are caught in illusory thoughts that come from the body, survival, neediness, instant gratification, and feelings that are connected to the body. I need to feel full. I need to feel satiated. I need to feel a complete. And you seek feelings, whatever physical action you can take to get instant gratification for the body. This is where you, exactly, carnal desires. This is where you are. This is where you stuck. It's where you stuck. As long as you are stuck here, now mind you, this will never change. This will never change. This is like this. What you have to do is not try to fight physical feelings and fight your thoughts. You need to raise your level of awareness. This is the only solution to problems. Your solution is not down here. Your solution is not down here. You cannot change animalistic feelings and animalistic thoughts in the body. You cannot. I don't know. You cannot change the thoughts in your body and the feelings. You cannot do it. What you can do is you can be done with this. Now, here's the only time that you start to do this. You have to actually hate where you currently are physically and realize what got you there. You have to hate where you are physically. You have to hate the physical circumstances you're in and realize these damn circumstances have come from me focusing my psyche downward into the body, only wanting to feel pleasure for the body and only thinking about myself. I'm thinking about this illusory self and I'm feeling this illusory self and I'm living my life for the lowest level of existence. You have to hate the circumstance and then you have to know where it comes from. It's coming from your illusory feelings and thoughts that you keep on thinking. What's that look like? That look like you keep trying to chase money when you really want your soul calling. It looks like you keep eating the wrong foods because it makes you feel instant gratification and instantly better rather than pressing toward the mark of a higher body, a better body, a clear body. That's what it means at a practical level. What it looks like is you're addicted to sex. You're addicted. It makes you feel good instantly. And you're addicted to it rather than pressing up into the soul. And there's nothing wrong with sex, but you are addicted. You can't help yourself, or you're addicted to substances. You need the feeling, instant gratification, and you think you need instant gratification in your thoughts. You're addicted. That's what you're listening to. You have to shift your focus from focusing downward, which is in survival, and you have to shift what you control, y'all. The part that you control of this process, the part that you actually control of this process is you control your own will. This is the upward triangle. This is what you control. This is the masculine power. And this is the feminine power. You have both in you. Now, at the lowest level of existence, the feminine is feeling illusory feelings, and the masculine is illusory thoughts. Now, this is the interesting part. The illusory feelings and the illusory thoughts end up feeling so badly that you start to focus upward automatically. You start to move away from it. The only way to make the first move, which is out of the flesh, and this is what people don't get. The only way out of your circumstances, you have to hate where you are. And this is the funny part. The illusory feelings you keep feeling and the thoughts that keep wrecking your life, that actually ends up being the exact motivation you need to catapult yourself upward into your soul and higher desires and higher states of consciousness. It actually is an accelerator. So a lot of people, this is what a lot of spiritual people do. A lot of spiritual people, they feel these thoughts and feel these feelings in their body and go, oh no, I'm just going to try to feel good. I don't want to hate because I know I'll attract more of it. Okay. If you don't allow yourself to get sick and tired of being sick and tired, these thoughts and feelings can't do their job. I just listened to a guy who went on Steve Bartlett's podcast who was talking about how a lot of people don't realize that dissatisfaction is a creative state. But what they do instead of being dissatisfied is they try to make themselves feel better instantly without allowing the dissatisfying thoughts and feelings, the physical circumstance, to make them sick and tired enough to actually move. Think of this as forward, going forward, but it's really going inward and upward. But think of it also as going forward. The goal is to take yourself up this pillar. But you have to use these masculine, feminine powers to move you upward. But you have to, at the lowest level, y'all have to hate where you are. You have to quit. You have to be sick of being around the kinds of people that you are around right now. Y'all are around people. A lot of us, we all do this. Y'all are around people who also live on this survival instinct. They always drinking every weekend. They always smoking every weekend. They always doing something every weekend. They live for the weekend. They always negative. They think that they are just little worms. They make excuses. This is what this does. It makes you think and feel like you're small, like you are just this little tiny itty bitty self. It makes you think that. That's what it makes you believe. And belief is just thoughts and feelings you think over and over and over again. So here you are thinking illusory thoughts and feeling illusory feelings connected only to this physical illusory body. So you are living in total illusion. You have to hate this. You have to hate this. To the point where you start thinking, you start to move up into the soul. Now, once you move up into the soul, that's when your new self is born. This is what it means to be born again. Yeah, you have to let them go and go be around people who are happier. Yes, you cannot just stay around people. This is the thing. We have to make decisions in this life. You are not obligated to anybody on this life. The only reason that you exist is to move yourself up into your soul calling and to attain the highest states of consciousness and happiness for yourself and others that you possibly can. But it starts with you. Okay, your dad and your best friend. Okay, you have to get rid. Now, you won't do this immediately. I'm not saying ditch them. What I'm saying is realize the situation you created for yourself. Realize that they are reflections of your state of consciousness, being low-level states of consciousness. Realize this is made by you. Everything that is in your physical environment is a reflection of what's happening up in the upper realms. And this is as high as it goes for you. High as it goes for you is your psyche. It can touch the soul, even from this bottom of the bottom. You can touch your soul. It's the highest point. But you need to start at your mind and start controlling your mind. What's the first choice you make with your mind? You choose to stop focusing on illusory feelings connected to the body and start thinking higher thoughts that are connected to the soul. And the soul, another word for that is universal principle. Yeah, babe, I agree. You have to reduce your time around those people. You have to reduce your time around those people because you can't go anywhere. You can't go higher. You can't go to any higher state around those people. So the principle of life, you could just call it the principle. So you need to take your lower level feelings and say, I'm wrong. This is wrong. I'm not thinking clearly. You have to say this. I am not thinking clearly and I'm not feeling clearly. I'm done thinking illusory thoughts connected to my body, and I'm done feeling illusory feelings connected to my survival in my body. I'm ready to feel feelings connected to true divinity, and I'm ready to think thoughts connected to true divinity. How do you do that? You move into your soul. That means you go within. You go within. You start to listen to your soul. You have to start to listen to your soul. Your soul is connected to these illusory thoughts and feelings. When you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, it actually propels you into your soul. First step to listening to your soul, let's repeat it again. I'm going to show it to you in a different way. The first step to listening to your soul is you have to literally hate where you are. So you have, here's your physical existence. Remember, this physical existence of yours. Look around you. Do you like the money you make? Do you like the person that you with? Do you like the people you keep attracting? Do you like the work that you do? Do you like yourself? Do you like your body? If you're okay with it, if it's 7 out of 10, if it's 6 out of 10, but I can tolerate it, you'll never change. You have to hate where you are. That's literally the only place you can start. People will claim that you can start somewhere else, like you can start manifesting. Try it. I tried it for 6 years. It doesn't work. I had to hate my circumstance and decide to change it. Until that, nothing happened. Okay, so physical. You have to move your attention up from the physical into your mind. Okay, let me think this through how I want to think it. But this is it. Okay, this is it. You have to move your attention up. Yet manifesting is a misnomer. Yeah, if you want to sum it up, it's training the subconscious mind, but here's the deal. Your subconscious mind is in higher states. It's actually at the higher state. It moves down to your soul. So you have to connect to your soul to connect to your to connect to the true subconscious mind. Now your subconscious mind at the lower state, which it would be your thoughts. Subconscious mind at the lowest state is just your thoughts. Subconscious mind at a higher state, at a state that you can control, probably where you're going to be most of your life, is your will. That is your subconscious. Your subconscious your will is being influenced by the subconscious. So actually it's being influenced by the spirit, because it go like this. Actually, let me show y'all that. So how the energy flows is this, by the way. It starts in Keter, which is the infinite. It flows down to spirit. I'm using different names to make it easier. This is how I understand it. Okay? You may or may not be. It depends on what you're doing. It depends on how you live it. Like if I would suggest to not believe you're at a higher state. It's pretty dangerous to just believe you're at a higher state. Seriously. Now the subconscious mind you can't get rid of it. It's actually the matrix of reality. Okay? But I would recommend not thinking that way. Now I don't have these on my page yet, but they are coming, because I feel like this is just a format that I'm gonna start creating in a little more. So spirit actually influences the subconscious. The subconscious mind we can call universal intelligence. Okay, cool. I'm telling you, I just gave you my advice, because I've been living this for 10 years. I would say since 2016, a little longer than 10 years. And I'm still a student, right? Okay. It's number 5 of the fundamentals is master the basics. So if you're living it, cool, but you need to go back and get an even better mastery of it. If you don't, then you lose it, especially if you think you know it. Because I went through a phase like that where I did know it. But the problem is I knew it, and that made me lose it. So spirit influences the universal subconscious mind. That universal subconscious mind actually creates a divine desire. And what's the divine desire? To give. The divine desire that comes from spirit, that manifests through the subconscious mind, is the desire to share. That desire to share influences your will. Now, this is actually the story of Garden of Eden. So in the story of Garden of Eden, the divine desire to share actually influenced Adam to eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Because why? The serpent said you will become like God. And what he wanted was he wanted the divine desire to share. He wanted to share, but you can't share when you're in the Garden of Eden receiving everything. There was nobody to give to. So he ate from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Why? Because he was going to become like God. It was the greatest mistake of all time. It was perfect. He knew what he was doing. So this is judgment. He made a judgment call. So this divine desire leads to you taking action, making a judgment. Okay? That judgment thrusts you down into your soul. That judgment, that decision to eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil activated your soul. But this is the highest point. And Adam got cast all the way to earth. How did that path happen? First, he passed through his soul. Then he passed through his feelings. He had a feeling body. That feeling body passed through a thought body, a body of thoughts that matches the feelings, and that became his psyche. So he passed through his psyche. He passed through his psyche all the way down to the physical dimension where he is in hell. He's in the darkness of physical existence. This is the path it took. Thank you, baby. This is the path. So if you study Cabala, this is actually the path that energy takes. But when you study it, you don't have to use the names and words that the Cabala uses if you get it. Get down, boo. Okay? Yeah. If you want to learn this and get these videos, I post these on Telegram, on my Telegram channel for yeah, my bad, baby. Thank you. But I post these on my Telegram channel. And I obviously post them on YouTube. I'm going to start posting a lot more on YouTube, these. But this is it. This is it. So just message me if you want to get these replays. Just go message me. Yeah, understanding. It's like, what is understanding? When you actually study Cabala, you have to see the Cabala has a rule. The Cabala has a rule when you study Cabala. The rule is you cannot believe anything. That's the rule. You have to actually learn it and do it yourself. Yeah, if you go to look, if you comment, Leisha, can you send this to him? Comment yes, and then Leisha will message you. Okay? Comment yes, and then Leisha will message you if you want it. This is a Jewish idea of God essence. Does it have anything to do with Jesus Christ? That's a good question. So the Christ concept in Gnostic Christianity, which is, if you want a book, this is one of those books. Gnosis of the Cosmic Christ. One of the best books on it. Okay? One of the best books on it. Obviously, you see I done highlighted it all. I really studied this book. This is the Christ concept. What is the Christ concept? The Christ concept is actually here. Is what you see here. It is not specifically. It's not specifically Jewish. It is. It's wisdom, ancient wisdom. That I will say the Jewish tradition has really honed in on it. But the Christ concept is actually this. What it is who you are, the soul, in a total state of union and gnosis with the divine. And the lowest point where it expresses itself is the highest, which is the soul. So this is the highest and this is the highest. And this is the total knowledge and gnosis of both as one. This is actually the state of Christ consciousness. When you raise your level of awareness from, let's start here again, from being the lowest, your feelings being influenced by your body, and your thoughts being influenced by your body. But you move your seat of control up to the soul, where the highest, where you pressing toward is a direct experience of being that divinity. And the lowest is in your psyche. You're using a low level mind to do that, or your thoughts and feelings to go up toward gnosis. Then you arrive finally at an ascended state. But guess what? You can't ascend back up unless it first came down. So truthfully, this is what happened. Let's see it. I'm about to do another one real quick. So truthfully, what happened? How did it happen? What happened? Well, what happened was this. How do we know naturally how to ascend? Well, the light descended. We are Adam, who was cast out of the Garden of Eden because of a divine desire to be like God, which is to share, which led to judgment, that we had to become physical, that led us through our soul, into our feelings, through our thoughts, through the psyche, down to the physical. So now we are physical. Look at us. We're born. Thank you, Tay. Down to the physical. So now we're here. What's our goal now? Our goal, the whole point is we want it to be like God. So how do you become like God? Well, here's the path. Here's the path. You have to start in darkness, where you are influenced by the lowest level influences. And that has to spark a desire for you to move into your soul. Once you start moving, you will eventually, maybe this lifetime, maybe never in this, maybe not in this lifetime, you may get to the point where you realize, I am not the body. That's not who I am. That's not a part of the circle of what makes up myself. You're not the body. You realize you are in the body as a vehicle, but this isn't me. I am the soul. And the psyche controls and dictates what my body does. When you reach a high point of consciousness and reality, we live in how do we live day to day happily? Well, when you get to this stage, you're pretty happy. I know when I'm experiencing. Now, by the way, do I experience low level desires? Absolutely, I do. Do they control me? No, they don't. I'm here most of the time. And this feels good because what's happening here is, remember, I want to show y'all again. Let's just draw it this way. Let's just draw it this way. The triangle that's going upward, think of it as you. You can think of it as your will. Your will. Your will is you can move upward. Okay? The triangle that moves downward, you could say is God's will. Let's just say it that way, right? Okay. So your will, you can choose to move upwards. God's will, he's sending down the energy that you're going to use to go up. Let's say that. Now, with that being said, God is giving you this divine desire and your ability to choose right in your psyche. That's why in your mind, you have the divine desire to ascend, and you have the judgment to do it. It's in your psyche. That's why you, in your mind, if you look in your own self, in your own mind, you have the desire to ascend and to share and to give and to be like the creator. You already have it. How did it get there? Remember, God's will is what God gives you. And it's these 2 points into the bottom point. Okay. Well, God gave you the desire to be like God himself. So you had to come to the physical realm to experience everything. Because if you want to be like God, you got to experience everything. So here you are. You have the divine desire in your psyche. You have the divine judgment or will to do what you want in your psyche. So you can use that to move yourself upward. How do you use that to move yourself upward? It's through thoughts and feelings. As long as your feeling is connected to a divine desire, the higher state of feeling, and your thoughts are connected to the highest judgment and highest will, which is the will to be like the creator, then your psyche, or then it will move you toward a direct knowledge, a direct gnosis, a direct experience of being that divinity. And this is how it works. But you can't even do this process if you stuck in the physical. 90% of people are stuck in the physical. Social media has made it very apparent. People want to be famous. People want to have cars, clothes, luxury. People thinking about themselves. People narcissistic. I care about me, what I want, only me. That is all body stuff. That is all body stuff. This is the small self trying to be big and important. That's all that is. That's this. All the energy is just going downward. It's just using thoughts and feelings of self. I'm just thinking and feeling about myself. Thinking and feeling about myself. How can I be more important? How can I be more important? How can I be more important? How can I be significant? How can my issue, me. Well, when you transcend this body for a large degree, you have to have a body to manifest. So it's this cord between who you are at the highest level in the body. And you know, okay, I'm in the body. But I am not the body. I don't live my life for the body. I don't live my life for the body. No, I don't. I live my life to move upward into higher knowledge. I understand that these powers are here. Now, also, if you look at it, remember what we just said. So God's will comes downward from the top two down to this point, right? Okay, cool. So what that looks like here. Okay, real thoughts and real feelings are in your body. That's all your body has is thoughts and feelings. Okay. This is the book I recommend. If you really want to understand it, this is it. Absolutely, this is it. You are welcome. Y'all screenshot that. Y'all liking this? This benefiting y'all at all? This is the keys right here. And then, so look, if y'all want these replays, because I do this, okay? Hey, don't worry about the size of the book. Just read it. Do I live in gnosis constantly? No, absolutely not. I absolutely don't live in gnosis constantly. I would be completely lying if I said that. Because look, truthfully, if I was living in gnosis constantly, this would be who I was. Let me show you. I would be here already. I would be this version. I wouldn't even have a connection to my physical body. I would be ascended. And if the body was doing something, I would have no cognizance of it. And I have plenty cognizance of my body. Okay. But here's what I can say. I'm here most of the time. I'm here the majority of the time, and it feels incredible. I am firmly rooted here. Okay. And I don't spend time here. I don't. Do I pray to Jesus? Well, remember what I said Jesus was. It's a state of consciousness. So rather than praying to Jesus, that would be this one. That would be this version trying to pray to this version like it's not me. Well, the lowest level of Christ's feet, this is why in the Bible, they talk about washing Christ's feet. It's actually the highest point of who we already are. So that's just moving into the soul. So I don't worship anything. I become. I cannot just, you understand? One-on-one conversations. This is what I recommend you do. If you want a one-on-one conversation with me, I would book. I do Kabbalistic readings, like astrology readings that target the soul specifically. That's what I would do if you want a one-on-one conversation with me. You're welcome. Because there's a lot going on for one-on-one conversations. Is that you, White Jesus? I know what you feel, man. You're looking at the color of the skin, but guess what that is? You're looking at this body that you are not. That's another one of those things. Race is just illusory, y'all. It's the biggest scam, okay? Who cares what the face looks like? It's irrelevant. Okay. We are not this. It's irrelevant. All right. It's irrelevant. Yeah, I use astrology. The astrology I use, I'm gonna actually show y'all real quick how this connects to astrology. I'm gonna be using these diagrams probably a lot in the next couple days, but I'm gonna show y'all actually how it works. Eastern astrology, I don't really have much of an opinion on Eastern astrology, to be real, because I haven't studied it well enough to really make a comment on it, educated comment on it. I've gotten some readings from it, from the Eastern perspective, but it seemed pretty accurate as far as it goes, as far as I know it. But once again, I don't know a lot. Okay. So just to show you a little bit, this is how, these are the planets that, as far as the Cabala is concerned, how I see it. What I understand is Pluto is Keter. It's the beginning and the end. Okay. Over here is Uranus. It's the spark of creation. Okay. Saturn rules Chronos, or time. That's understanding, or the subconscious mind here. The divine desire is Jupiter. It's wisdom. It's beauty. It's mercy. I'm going to be putting this on YouTube, but it's going to be shown in the Telegram. So if you actually want this, just go in our Telegram. This is Jupiter, which is the divine desire to share. That's why Jupiter always is expanded. Will, infinite will, is actually Mars. That's the Aries is Scorpio. That's why that will, when that will shows up in a person, if it's unbalanced, it'll be very aggressive, but it creates action. The soul is ruled by the sun. This is why when you say I'm an Aries, I'm a Taurus, I'm a Libra, that's actually your sun sign. And then these feelings, the feelings are Venus. The feelings are Venus. And the thoughts are Mercury. Okay? It should be a link. Just say yes in the chat, and then Alicia will message you. Say yes in the chat, and then Alicia will message you. Okay? And then down here where your psyche is ruled by the moon. And it has a lot to do with the past and emotions. So that mixes with psyche. And then the last one is actually Earth, which we don't use in astrology because it's where we are. So that's Earth. Now, what is Deat? The direct gnosis, the direct experience is so interesting because here it is. It's actually Neptune. Why is it Neptune? It's Neptune because Neptune can be illusory or enlightening, depending on your level of consciousness. Okay. This is illusory or enlightening based on what you know about your own consciousness. I gotta fix this, y'all. I can't let it stay like that. Okay. This is the sun right here. It's the soul. So this is the Kabbalistic planetary placements and what they embody. So when you see Pluto, what you're really seeing is the beginning and the end, the Alpha and Omega. When they talk about the Christ, what you're really seeing in astrology, if you want to see your Christ consciousness, you look for where your Uranus is. And notice, Uranus is an external planet. So this planet, and this planet are external, which means they do not have a direct effect on your life. And you can't see them with the naked eye. They have a direct effect, but they have more of a collective effect. But the one you can see with your naked eye is Saturn. Saturn is the first planet you can see when you just look up in the sky. You can see it. And what's funny is this is the first place that you can, this is the only place actually you can understand. This is where understanding is. But it's the only Sephrio you can begin to understand. It's the highest level of understanding. And guess what it rules? Time. You can only understand what's in time with your mind. But anything beyond time cannot be understood with the mind. You have to embody it. The cube of Saturn. I've never heard of the cube of Saturn, but I understand the shape of a cube, and it's equal on all sides, and it's the same no matter which way you approach it, which embodies a truth. I know this. I think she in heat. Come here. You come here. She won't let me pick her up either. Embodiment of your highest embodiment is Uranus. And this is why Uranus in astrology will flip things on your head. Hey, come here. But Uranus will flip things on his head in your life. Spontaneous. All of a sudden, that is your Christ or highest self manifesting, because everything has a direct connection to your soul. So Uranus, which is your highest consciousness, also has a direct connection to your soul. That soul has a direct connection to your psyche, and your psyche has a direct connection to the physical. So this is how it works. Boom, it's like a lightning bolt. That's how it works. Oh, shoot. My moon comments. Let me look at the moon. An astrologist said the moon is the body connected to ancestors. I can see that because the moon is the moon in shamanic astrology is all about your past. And if you think about the moon, what happens with the moon? The moon receives light from the sun, but it does not emit its own light. It's not a luminary. So the sun, the only thing we can see of the moon is what the sun is, this where the moon is, depending on where the moon is around the earth. It shows if it's full or if it's half or if it's waxing or waning. So the sun is the real light, and this shines on the past, which is the moon. So the moon is just a reflection of the light. It can carry past. Where did you learn about this chart? You made a book or your own research? I didn't research. I just stared at this. I'm being honest with y'all. This is what I teach people to do. I literally just stared at this, and I found these planets online, yes. But then also this book, this is one of those books that I read. But with all that being said, I read a lot of books. I study a lot, absolutely. And I recommend books over online information because you can get a hodgepodge. You want to go to valuable sources. When I looked at this and started studying this and just paying attention to it myself, these things started to come out at me. And this is what you do. This is what I recommend doing, and this is what I teach. Actually stare at this chart and allow it to influence you. Allow it to impact you. I just meditated on it, and it came out this way. And now I don't just go off of my subjective ideas. I have to actually experience it. So subjective ideas, cool. I know what I feel inside. in my psyche. I get it, but it has to practically come out in physical reality because I know my psyche's connected to physical reality, so I have to prove it. That is what makes the difference between, I believe, a real practitioner and somebody who just believes stuff. If she come back around, I'll let y'all see her. I'll let you see her if she come back around. Come here, kitty. She gonna leave now. Will do. But this is it. This is it. Anybody got any questions on this? Remember, this is the ascendant. You are ascendant. You are ascending. It starts here. You move up. And then finally you reach your higher states. Yeah. So I always say, for me, if you wanted to work with me personally, the way you can work with me, I would first do one of these readings for you. I would do a soul guided path reading. Because what it is, what we don't know, we are born in this physical reality with what's called tikkun, or a correction to do. That's actually the reason we're here. We fell from grace, but it wasn't a bad fall. It was a good one. We fell from grace this way, from the divine all the way to the physical, just to make our way back up. That's what our goal is. That's what we are trying to do. Make our way back up. But there are tikkun, or blocks in your psyche, that come from illusory feelings. Remember this? The illusory feelings and the illusory thoughts. These have to be eliminated. And your astrology chart actually shows you where these illusory thoughts are. Isn't that crazy? It shows you where your illusory thoughts are so that you can eliminate them. And you eliminate them by going toward the opposite direction. You see? So that's that. That's what we do in an astrology reading, but this stuff is profound, y'all. But say yes in the chat if you want that, and I'm gonna let y'all say y'all goodbyes. By the way, this is what we're gonna be. This is what's coming down the pipeline. Subscribe so you can get this. We will be going over the Hermetica. This is a book. The Corpus Hermeticum is a book that explains the 7 laws of the universe. It's Uranus. That's the Christ consciousness. This is another book that I highly recommend, the Tao Te Ching. One of the most profound books is the Tao Te Ching. Transformative. Absolutely transformative. It will change your life. Okay? It will change your life. This, the Bhagavad Gita. The Bhagavad Gita. That's a big one. It will change you. Deeper ones, which are more challenging, Zohar. That's a more challenging one. I wouldn't recommend you just jump straight into the Zohar. Tao Malachi, Gnosis of the Cosmic Christ. And then my favorite of all that I studied more than anything else, look how ripped up this book is. It is Thomas Trower, Edinburgh Lectures on Mental Science. Oh yeah, definitely. That book is $68, by the way. This book right here is $68 online. If you're not a real student, you probably won't buy it, I'll be honest. You know, you're the Cabalian right here. The Cabalian is on this one. You got the Cabalian, Corpus Hermeticum, and the Emerald Tablet. It's 3 in 1. There you go. The collection book, that's this one. You know, what I like to do when I read books, I do not like, unless I can't understand it directly myself, I do not like to go to other people's interpretation of books before I read it myself. Collected. Oh, that was Thomas Troward. That was that one. Thomas Troward. That's his name. And the reason I don't is because why would I listen to somebody else rather than listen to my own soul about it? That's what I ask myself. Collected works of Thomas Troward. I think this is like 20 something dollars. But this is probably one of the most valuable. It's 100-year-old book. Profound. Easily. Okay. All right, y'all. I love every one of y'all. I will be on here tomorrow morning. Get on here. I'm going to be going live every morning at some point in the morning over the next week. All tore up, baby. Y'all welcome. We're going to be learning here soon.